Good morning, everyone. So, I have Holly Johnson Friar today on my show, CEO of Elbow Room. Yes, this woman went from serial entrepreneur to what I lovingly call financial activist. Her and her husband has done some phenomenal things in the Bay Area community. And then she made a decision. No, I need to make a change to what I'm seeing going on. You're going to hear about that because it also affects for profit businesses as well. I'm not going to talk anymore. Let's start the show. Good morning, everyone. Paula Madison Sierra, Power Marketing SF, and the host of this show. This morning, I have with me Holly Johnson Frere. She's the CEO of Elbow Room. Good morning, Holly. How are you?
I am excellent. How are you, Paula?
I'm doing really great. Thank you so much for being on the show because I know this is Giving Tuesday month, right? And I know it's a busy time for you guys and you're on the show. But before we go, Giving Tuesday, is that like something that you guys do every month? Is it a special thing? Can you tell me more about that?
Hey, actually, first let me say thank you for having me, Paula.
Oh,
I really appreciate it.
absolutely.
But also, Giving Tuesday, that's a great idea to do it every Tuesday of the month. It's something that happens in November that many nonprofit organizations pay attention to. And because this is the month for Thanksgiving, right? And so we ask people that are interested in what we are doing and the missions that we are presenting to donate to our organizations.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good to know because I wasn't sure if it's something that happens a couple of times a year, but this makes a valid statement right there. So, Holly, before we go into it, tell us a little bit more about your journey through entrepreneurship because you and your husband have done, every time I speak to you, it's like, you guys did what? Also, oh, okay, you said that so casually. So share with me that origin story of how you guys got moving.
Well, thank you. Let me start at the very beginning when I was working in corporate America, working for an organization called American Hospital Supply. And I've been working really hard and was going to go to my first party after almost a year of not going out at all. And I saw this man walking by a swimming pool at this all day, all night party. And I reached out my hand and said, "Hello, my name is Holly Johnson." And he said, "My name's Lorenzo."
And I know Lorenzo, by the way, so that would really be the voice.
So, so that was a really long time ago. And fast forward, we wanted the same things. We wanted to start our own business and become financially independent. And that's what we did while we kept our full time jobs. We purchased a health club in Berkeley,
Mhm.
and we were in the health club business for 15 years. And fast forward from that, did some real estate development. And then now my husband still works as the CEO of a home health and hospice company in the Bay Area.
Nice.
So
Very.
from there, I decided that I wanted to do something to give back.
Yeah. What got you to that point? I mean, because it sounds like you're on a really interesting trajectory. It's like, okay, we're good. What led you to becoming a financial activist?
Well, we'll call it the tale of two sisters. The sisters are my daughters. I have two amazing adult daughters. One only wanted to be an educator. I call her my hero because I wouldn't want to work with all those little kids, but she's really good at it. She is the kid whisperer. And she only wanted to be a teacher. So she taught school, public school, and you really can't live on a teacher's salary anymore. It used to be the height of someone's career to be a teacher. Everyone respected you, but then all of the expenses of life came around, and teachers started getting looked down at because they don't make that much money. And then all the tech companies started coming in. And my other daughter, who's a globalist, benefited from working at a tech company. So my daughter, the hero, said, okay, well, I need to make some more money. So I'm going to go and get my master's degree in speech language pathology, which will allow me to continue my mission of educating children and getting them on the best path possible. The other sister, the other daughter, actually had stock from the tech company, and that paid for her master's degree. So my husband and I had said, look, we will pay for undergrad, but if you guys decide on graduate school, you have to do that on your own.
Yeah, yeah,
So the speech therapist, oh, she got grants, she got scholarships, she got fellowships, she was well respected. And so we just didn't even think about it. We didn't really talk to her about what was her financial situation because we figured, you know, she's able to take care of it because she's gotten all this free money.
yeah.
And then a couple of years later, she came to us just in distress and said that she had gotten into a situation that she didn't understand. And now she had a six-figure debt. And both of us were like, really? How did that happen?
How did that
You
happen?
know, you had all this free money. What happened? Well, I saw something about student loan debt on a program called Patriot Act, which is starred and hosted by Hassan Minaj, who is a political comedian. And I was like, I'm going to watch this program and I'm going to tell my daughter what she needs to do to take care of her situation. It's only a 22-minute program. And after I finished watching it, I was so distressed I had to lay down and take a nap. I couldn't believe that 43 million people were plagued with student loan debt. And that's when I started thinking about what I should be doing with the rest of my life. And that's to help other people
So
through
let me
this
ask you a
process.
question. Let me ask you a question, Miss Holly, because it sounds like besides the student loan, it sounds like, I mean, because I know Wells Fargo has gotten in trouble the last couple of years about how they've handled clients, just basic accounts. Credit cards, just, students still in college getting fed these credit cards. It sounds like this is an insidious thing just all through our society at all levels, and it's going after the ones who are really trying to take care of society, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
So how did you make the leap to it's like, okay, I need to help my daughter. Now you're like going from that to starting a whole not-for-profit. Like, how did that happen?
I just felt that it was my calling to do
Yeah.
so. We'll help our daughter get through this like we always have helped our children the best we can. But to see that this situation has affected 43 million people, and particularly those who have chosen careers in service, so education, nonprofit organizations, uh, doctors and dentists that work for nonprofit organizations through public clinics, uh, people in the military,
Oh,
people that work for the government. You know that oftentimes these careers pay less. And that's why I decided that I wanted to specifically focus on public service loan forgiveness, but also Elbow Room, the movement to end student loan debt, does offer financial literacy education for all that are saddled with student loan debt.
but when you say eliminate, explain that to folks. When you say it's your goal to eliminate,
Mhm.
are we doing lobbyist work? What are we doing here?
That's a good question. Well, when we started, our focus was to pay off. I think I should back up a little bit and just talk about what is Elbow Room. Elbow
Yeah.
Room is an organization that is designed to assist those saddled with student loan debt through financial literacy education. But we're really focused on those people who are doing public service work, who often make less money, and because they often have to have graduate degrees, they are saddled with student debt and they're making less money. So it's eliminating a segment of the middle class. So
Oh,
we call it elbow room because that's all you want after all the years of education, right? You want some elbow room to enjoy your life's accomplishments. But we also videotape many of our elbow room candidate stories, and we have those on our website. We have them on our YouTube channel, um, on TikTok, Clapper. We are sharing what's going on in mass. And what we do to protect these people's identities is we only show their elbows.
oh, lovely. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I want people to understand that that is deliberate. We are trying to protect these people's identity because oftentimes there's a lot of shame associated with student loan debt. People that don't have the debt or that have been able to pay off the debt don't understand how people get into this situation.
Well, let me ask you a question because you're gonna have some, because they're business owners who typically watch the show and they're like, "Oh, is this a not-for-profit thing?" Of course, that teachers thing, that lackadaisical attitude we've all taken toward, not all, all right? Sorry, folks, not everyone, not all and every, but some of us that thought that we've started taking towards people in not-for-profit, teachers who take care of
Your
our
children,
children, right?
our children.
And medical people who are taking care of us right now who are saddled with those debt. It's
Mhm.
just their problem. Is it bigger than that? Is it something that we should be looking at? Because it's going to affect us all.
Well, the problem that I see that really needs to be changed, Paula, is that there should not be a negative amortization loan associated with student loan debt. It should be pay what you borrowed, right?
Yeah,
Maybe with a little bit more, but there should be a cap on the interest that is charged. But because Black and Brown people are getting educated more than they used to, that's how this whole student debt crisis really got supercharged.
mm,
More Black and Brown people have student loan debt, and they're at higher amounts because they're trying to be the social workers that get paid less than a psychologist, for example.
mm,
They're trying to be the school teacher or the community leaders. We know that for nonprofit organization leaders get paid less oftentimes unless you're at the exact top, unless you're the executive director or the highest ranked person in that organization. Everybody else is getting paid less. So
mm.
the years ago, my college roommate Lay, who is an MD, went to medical school with an English major, which still baffles me. But she always wanted to be a doctor. And when she went to medical school, she got a full ride for medical school. She got a stipend while she was in medical school. And then when she graduated, without making any payments at all she had to do was work in a rural community for 4 years, and her loan was completely forgiven.
Yeah, yeah. That's the VA structure that I've heard about. Where, yeah,
But that
it's
should
a
be
fantastic
for
system.
all doctors that are working in these low income areas or in rural areas. They shouldn't have to pay back the loan. And I mean, and back then it was much less expensive than it is now.
Yeah,
Now medical school is hundreds of
ridiculous.
thousands of dollars,
I
right?
know I know New York has a really nice system set up as far as paying for your master's PhD, but you have to work for them for a set number of years, but
Right,
at a competitive salary. So I know that
exactly.
New York, it's like we don't want the brain drain. We just taught you.
Right,
So you
right.
need to stay in, but I know they have a nice structured setup
Mhm.
But it's interesting that some people don't want to take the money because they're like, I have to work for like like I can make more money somewhere else. So
Mhm.
they don't want that community service. But
Mhm.
yeah, I do love the way New York is set up. How do you view? I mean, because with all the things that I find this exciting, by the way, what you're doing,
Thank
by the way,
you.
I love me some elbow room, right? Um, how do you view failures and setbacks? Because this is such a new concept. I don't know if there's anyone else going after it, getting it the way you're getting at it,
Mhm.
uniquely, I think.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, is this an important quality to be looking at? It's like to be able to view failures and setbacks. Or how do you view it?
I view it in a positive way because I learned from my father that sometimes you have to pivot. You
Mm,
could start down one road, and if you see if that road is the road that's going to take you to your ultimate destination, or if you have to pivot so that maybe your road changes a little bit, but ultimately you get the same results, which would be alleviating people with student loan debt, then that's what I'm willing to do. And I
mm,
think people in for profit organizations do the same thing. There is an organization out of Los Angeles
yeah,
that had set up an opportunity to pay down student loun debt by doing volunteer work. And it was a great idea. However, they were only able to pay off 2,500 or $5,000 a year through doing volunteer work, which is not enough to pay for a negative AM
yeah,
loan,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, what was their pivot? Well, it was run by three physicians. And when COVID hit, they changed their trajectory to be COVID specific. And so they talk a little bit about helping those with student loan debt, but they no longer focus on it. They're focused on healthcare and helping the community with healthcare, which is still admirable. I am changing my focus to one at a time and completely, which we did last year. We paid off a student loan debt for an individual who was an award winning wound care nurse that had this private debt that had ruined her relationship with her father, who had co signed on her loan.
Mm,
And she went through some difficulties, was not able to take care of the loan. So we were able to raise enough money in our first year of
I
fundraising.
was just about to say, wasn't that your first year?
Our first year of fundraising was
Congratulations.
2022,
Yeah,
and we were able to negotiate her debt down and paid off her loan completely, which has allowed her to do a lot of other things in her life with her family. What
yeah,
I found out in 2023 is that many people just saw that as, well, my child has student debt too, right? And so why should I pay off this person's loan when I need to help my own child pay off their student loan? I get that.
yeah.
What I see are organizations that Elbow Room is interested in partnering with. And what they do is they take a whole class of a school, say the whole class of 2021, and will negotiate and pay off the whole class's loan. So that's the next level for Elbow Room.
So, do you think this ability to pivot is exclusive to not-for-profit, or is it bigger? Is it something that all business owners should be looking at?
All business owners need to know how to pivot.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes with technology coming in, I mean, it's just like businesses, for example, that CD players were the thing, or
Mhm.
they had 8-track players. Remember 8-track players? Those
We have
business
one at my house.
For those businesses to continue, they had to change their direction.
Yeah.
So, yes, all organizations, all corporations, all individuals need to understand how to pivot when it's necessary.
What advice can you give to, besides pivoting? That's one. Give me two more pieces of nuggets from your experience that we can share with business owners in general, whether they're starting a not for profit or they're doing solely for profit. What are
Mhm.
some of the things that they should be looking at internally, externally?
Well, I'd say not only find other advocates for what you're doing, be your own advocate. I learned that from my mom. My mother, when I was in labor, my mother came in the room with her caps and gowns. My mother was a social worker and a job developer. She came in with her cap, gown, and gloves, and there were a group of doctors coming down the hallway. And what they do, if you're in a public hospital, is they will come in, and everybody on the OBGYN team that are still students might investigate what's going on with your pregnancy, right, while you're delivering.
Because they're
And
learning, right? They're
they're learning, but that's violation to me. That's a violation. My mother went to the door and she said, "This is not a clinic patient," and closed the door on their face. So I'm saying that people not only need to advocate for others, advocate for yourself also. And then with my dad would say, you know, if you fall down or if you do something that doesn't work out in your life, just brush it off and keep on going.
yeah.
And so I've had the situation I told you when I heard with Hassan Minaj, who has access to all kinds of resources and
Oh,
experts.
who is this person? Tell us who is this
He's a
person.
political activist. Some people would recognize him from The Daily Show with Trevor Noah.
Hmm.
He would give political commentary, but then he got his own show on Netflix called Patriot Acts, and he became more of a political comedian. So he tried to make jokes about student loan debt on the particular episode that I'm talking about,
Hmm.
but it wasn't funny.
Because it was so real, right?
It was distressing. People that had paid all their payments that were told, we didn't get all of your payments, you know, and you still expecting you to pay,
Okay.
ruining your credit, making it so that you can't have the American dream of home ownership or having a new car. I mean, it's something that was distressing. But my dad would say, "Okay, Holly, you paid off one loan last year. Great. Now nobody wants to do that anymore. What are you going to do? You're going to figure out how to pay off a whole class. That's what I'm going to do."
I love that. What strategies do you employ for yourself to stay motivated? I'm throwing this one at you. Like with
Mhm.
all the stuff, all the highs and lows, 'cause you've had an active year. I mean, you
Yeah.
started, you paid off, you're building, you're promoting. Everywhere I go, I see Holly Johnson at a networking situation, out and about, touching some palms. Um, what do you do to stay motivated? Because I'm sure there's highs and lows, right?
Well, you know, I believe in what I'm doing. I think that's the biggest thing. I believe in me. I believe that what I'm doing is correct. I believe in my children that they chose correctly in their careers. I believe that we'll figure out a way to help my daughter, although I cannot help her directly through Elbow Room. We'll figure out a way to help her because she's magnificent and she is doing God's work to me. Um, I and it's something that I know I couldn't do.
Yeah,
So I believe in my family. I believe that there are other people that want to help other people, maybe on a massive level,
yeah.
systematic level, rather than on an individual level. And I'm going to find those people. We will work together and we're going to pay off student loans and figure out how to navigate public service loan forgiveness so those people that should have had their loans forgiven have their loans forgiven. I'm working with a woman right now through Elbow Room who's been paying on her loan for more than 20 years through and has been an educator for 40 years and still hasn't had her loan forgiven. I'm going to help her get that loan forgiven.
Mm.
That's
And
what I do.
I think what a lot of people don't even realize that some of that little tiny salaries is going towards paying, feeding children at school and getting them supplies, and that little salary that people throw up their noses at is doing a lot quite selflessly, because you're like, well, who else is going to do it?
Mhm.
So it's bigger than folks, the tiny box of like, oh, it's just this person. My child has issues too. I'm hoping that people hear you say this, Holly, and realize that it's a trickle effect. Because if we don't have great teachers and great people in service, then
Mhm.
it affects all of us as well. Because someone has to take these jobs, and we want the best of us to be to and well educated. I know education gets a hit in this country lately, but I'm sorry, we've seen enough boneheads in politics right now, to realize that read a book, for crying out loud. Put sentences together properly. You're representing all of us, right?
Yes,
If
yes.
you met your younger self right now, I'm like, I have a time machine. I'm throwing you back in time. What could you say? And you can go back as far as you want or as few as you want. What would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself, even when I was working in corporate America and now that I'm running a nonprofit, I would tell myself, make sure you read the fine print.
Mm,
And I think that applies to everyone.
yeah.
And I would just want to emphasize that Elbow Room is an economic equity and a social justice organization. And if you look at how we are impacting people's lives, and you have to want to give to us or to an organization that is trying to help another individual or a whole group of people. There's an organization called the Education Trust, which is a think tank that talks about educational inequities. And they actually have termed student loan debt the new Jim Crow.
Oh, wow.
And so you see that more people of color have student loan debt, they owe more, and a lot of them are doing their best to help other people. Do you know that in San Francisco, the starting salary for a teacher is less than $60,000?
In San Francisco with that big budget?
But see,
Where
this
is
is
it going?
this is the part that I don't understand. We went to Portugal
Yeah. Oh, don't even start
last
me
year.
on Europe. Why are you bringing them into this? They just
Well,
embarrass us.
let me tell you why. Because in Portugal, college education is free, as
I
it is in the
know.
United Kingdom as well. And if you go to Finland, teachers make a whole bunch of money.
Exactly,
And
because
what
they're
I
like
don't
they're taking
understand,
care of our society, and our kids in the future. So let's put some, it's so logical. That's not American. We're not logical right now, Holly.
I agree, we are not logical right now.
Oh my
But
God.
education was supposed to be the great equalizer, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
And the
exactly.
public schools are underfunded, and they base how much funding they get for public schools on the tax base in that area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that means that if you're in a
Which I never
low
understood,
income,
by the way. Why isn't the money divided equally? I don't get that.
get
Why
it.
it's in
I don't
rich
get it.
neighborhoods only? I don't get. And then they put the label democracy above that. I don't get that part of it. But listen, we're running low on time,
Okay.
because I know my business owners need to get back to their day. A lot of
Thanks
you are
for
going to catch
listening.
this on a replay, but again, what you're doing is such a big deal. And I know Giving Tuesday, it's this month. How
Yeah.
can people donate to you if they want to send some monies your way to help out the cause? Will you send us the link so that we could drop it in after the show?
Absolutely. Thank you. I'd like to do that. And for those that are listening, our website is elbowroomsld.org. You could donate on our webpage. Um, and I just want to say thank you again, Paula,
You're
for
welcome.
bringing this to everyone's attention. Elbow Room, the movement to end student loan debt. We are serious about what we're doing. And I just want to leave with a quote from John Rockefeller. And he said, think of giving not as a duty, but as a privilege.
See, you're
We
bringing
like,
the Rockefellers into it because, they understood it.
yes,
I'm not sure. There's some entrepreneurs out there, the ones who've really made it big, really done big things.
uh,
As much as you hit Facebook, we see them doing it. As much as we hit Microsoft, I see him doing it, right? And so many others, right? But it's almost become a hated thing. There's so many voices against it out there when people like Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts did it because, for them, it was that intention, right? I give, I'm going to get. Giver's gain, right?
giver's gain, yes. And if
It's
anybody knows how to get in touch with the people that have signed the giving pledge,
giving
that's
place.
all the billionaires that have committed to give away a percentage of their annual income to nonprofit organizations. Let them know about the great work that we are doing with Elbow Room.
Please share it, guys. Share the link. You don't have to do much more than that. The beautiful part about social media is you have access. All you have to do is grab a link, forward it to someone, and just say, "Here's a great show that I saw on LinkedIn." Notice I said my own show is great. Thank
Yeah.
you. Holly, thanks so much for sharing all of this and bringing
And if
all
I
this
could
to
say
us.
one other thing,
Sure,
last
go for it,
thing,
please.
if you need assistance in navigating your student loan debt issues, please register on our website, Elbow Room, the Movement to End Student Loan Debt. There is a registration page for you, and we give free advice. We don't charge you anything. We want to help you the best we can because if we help somebody along the way, then our living is not in vain. And
Oh,
namaste. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for that, Holly. Because listen, I have a lot of attorneys on this who's going to be looking at this as well. You know who you are. You're part of this too. I'm sure you know some doctors, some of this. Everyone is. This is something that's not just a not-for-profit thing. So I thank you again for coming on and sharing this with us, and again during your busiest time. So I appreciate it. Please, by the way, guys, reach out to Holly. I'm going to drop her link in after the show so that you can see it. You can donate, you can share that. And of course, if you want more information, the reason why we do this, our continued mission is to introduce you to great experts and business owners who can share their expertise and their experiences to up level you. Why do I do this? Because marketing and operations is a love story, people, and one doesn't work without the other. So if your operations is not working, nothing, your marketing is not working. So we share Holly, we share all of these people, Lucy Fong Lee from last week, Marcus Miller, all of these people, Tony Kenyon, all these people who have come on to share their experiences with you, to help you up level. We are every Thursday, 10 a.m. live on LinkedIn. This wasn't pre-edited and gorgeous. It is what you see. So please share it. Thank you so much again, Holly. You
Thank
know,
you.
thank
Appreciate you
you.
having me.
Thank you so much. And thank you to the viewers. You constantly amaze me. I know I say it every week, but you really do. Stay strong through this interesting bumpy ride that we're going through. And as always, keep moving forward. Again, Holly, exciting conversation. Thank you so much for the time today.
Namaste.
Take care, everyone. Bye. Have a great day. And we're out.